Ryan and also Ting. Ryan, Ting. Alright. Alright. For those who have been following us with our Pro Learning series, thank you very much for your support. And for those who are new, Pro Learning Day is a day where we showcase our training programs, introduce new programs, and also our trainers to the market. So today's topic is about effective performance management and appraisal. We believe there are many HR people here, or maybe managers, assistant managers here who are involved in doing performance management and also appraisal. We believe the program will be benefits to all of us today. So the session is for all of us. So try to make the session as interactive as you can. You can please feel free to unmute and speak to us, speak to the trainers when he's presenting, or you can drop your questions or your doubts in the chat box. We will be monitoring and answering all your questions. All right. So let me introduce about us, who we are. We are Talent Pro Consulting, HRD Corp registered training provider. Our aim is to become your preferred learning partner. We do assist organizations in human capital management through our competency trainings and also consulting. Competency training includes our soft skill trainings, Excel, safety and also quality related trainings. We do assist organizations in talent assessments, people engagement programs through our unique team building programs, either virtual team buildings or physical team building programs. And we do also organize mental health related programs. And for your info, just recently we have ventured into recruitment service, which we can help organizations to look for talent. Look and also recruit the talent for the organizations. Our main goal is to become one-stop learning provider, where we can help organizations to recruit and also train the talent as well. So if you have any questions, if you need any help from us on these areas, please do feel free to contact us. We are happy to assist you. All right, so far so good. Then let's come to our topic today: effective performance management and appraisal. To speak more about these programs, we have invited a speaker, trainer, an experienced speaker, who is a performance management professional. His name is Encik Azizan. So it's my pleasure to introduce Encik Azizan to all of us. He has spent 29 years in human resource management. He has involved in strategic planning, trainings, and also consultancy. His areas of specializations are in performance management, talent management, and also succession planning. He has won numerous prestigious awards pertaining to human resource. To name a few, they are UK International Quality Crown Award, Malaysia HR Achievement Award, and also National Human Resource Development Award. So let us hear from him today, and please welcome Encik Azizan here. Hi, Encik Azizan. Yeah, I will over to you. Yes, can hear you clearly.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can see me also, right?
All right.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone.
You're most
Hello,
welcome.
everyone. Hello, corporate warriors. So why corporate warriors? Because everybody is fighting against the pandemic, and protecting your employees. So we pray that you will all be, on top of things, on top of the problems, and be able to manage your activities, whether it's operational or strategic, for the organization. Because by the end of the day, we want to make sure we continue, we recover, and we make sure we generate revenue for the organization. So it's very, very important, right? So thank you very much, Irju and Ryan, Talent Pro, and the team. You guys are great. It's a wonderful program. Right, as we talked about effective performance management and performance reviews, appraisal in this workshop. Now, what is the difference between reviews and appraisal? It's the same thing. Some people call it reviews, some people call it appraisal. Yeah, but in the end, it is basically a part of performance management. Yeah, a part of performance management. And today we will look at some of the programs that, let's say, we looked at some of the topics that we have highlighted, and we will go through this in a very quick and most informative session. All right, let me share with you the slides that I have for today. And go. All right. There is the slide. All right. A minute. Hang on. Hang on, guys. Hang on. I'm a Zoom person, so when it comes to Teams, although I use it, but not as much as Zoom. 1 minute. Let me find the file. I had the file on my desktop, but now I had to go back and look for the file in the file section in the folder. 1 minute. 1 minute. Let me search.
Think you want to help to share the slide?
It's okay. It's okay.
Do we need our help to share the slide, Aziza?
Because the slide is in PDF, kan?
Yep.
It's PDF. So is it okay to? I mean, can they see it in that font?
I think no issue, no? If let's say you share the screen.
Sure. Okay. 1 minute. Almost. All right. There you go. Very good. All right. Hang on. Nadia, pergi. Hang on, guys. Don't seem to be able to open the file.
Sorry for the technical mistake, yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
Then again, welcome everyone. You just hang on, huh? There you go.
Yes, finally.
Yeah, can you see it now?
Yep, can.
See, but I can. All right, there you go. All right, okay. All right, so effective performance management appraisal. So it's all about evaluating accomplishment. Yeah, whether you evaluate it. All right. 1 minute. 1 minute. Do you see the notes at the side there? On the right of your screen?
No.
You cannot see the notes? Right. Okay, all right. All right, guys, sorry, apologize for the technical issues lah. I mean, that's what you get when you have baby boomer managing IT person who is as Raju mentioned, 29 years in HR. So basically, what we can look at is, as a manager, you need to regularly appraise your employees' job performance. Yeah, you need to regularly appraise your employees' job performance, especially during this time of pandemic, this time of VUCA, we call it. Yeah? Time of VUCA. What is VUCA? Volatility, yeah, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Yeah, these are things that we cannot predict what will happen. So, very important that we make sure that we are prepared for any eventualities. Now that the organizations have opened up, the government has opened up, and businesses are all almost coming back to 100%. What we need to do now is to recover, yeah, to recover and continue produce for what we have done before prior to the pandemic. So it's very important. So by appraising your employees regularly, yeah, you can reinforce stellar performance. Yeah, look at the stellar performance of the employees and basically improve employees who have problems with performance, underperforming or subpar performance. And that generates important value for your organization in the form of higher productivity and more positive morale throughout your team. So it's very, very critical that you need to make sure that you are prepared to do this. So many people are doing performance appraisal. Many organizations are doing performance management. Yeah. And basically, what we need now is to make sure you do it right. Yeah, many organizations are not doing it right. What are they doing? They are putting a lot of intimidation on the executive. Yeah, they are intimidating your people, intimidating the employees, your subordinate to perform. But by the end of the day, it's not about intimidating and putting fear. It's all about grooming, developing, and also growing employees together with the organization. Yeah. For many managers, for example, find it very difficult to deliver constructive feedback. Yeah, deliver constructive feedback. It's all about what we call it as a delivering bad news. Many managers have a problem about delivering bad news. If your employees are not performing, so you have to tell the employee upfront. Yeah, you have to tell the employee right in the face, because the purpose of the process is to help and make sure that deliver constructive feedback so the employee's performance can improve, whether gradually or immediately. So that's what we're looking at. Yeah. So it's about evaluating accomplishment, deliver feedbacks, and setting goals. And basically, let me tell you a bit about myself. Riju has introduced me, and this is basically what my background is about. I was primarily professionally, I was a country HR leader for General Electric Corporation in Malaysia. Yeah, my division is the Advanced Materials Division. Yeah, Advanced Material Division. But now, unfortunately, GE have sold the division to the Saudi people, the Saudi Basic Industries Corporation, Sabi, if you have heard that. Yeah, and basically, I was also with Khazanah National, yeah, managing one of the subsidiaries as the VP and General Manager. And I was also with MEMOS, yeah, Senior Manager of OD and Succession Planning. One of the interesting things about being in MEMOS was I had the opportunity to be involved, not big, but also involved in a small way with the astronaut program, the Malaysian astronaut program. Yeah, basically is to support and develop, assess, and develop, groom, and also evaluate key engineers and scientists to support the Angkasa program. To be placed in 2 locations to support the Malaysian astronaut. And basically, these 2 locations are to choose the engineers and scientists are in Baikonur, Uzbekistan, the Cosmodrome, I think so, and also in Houston, Texas. with NASA. Yeah, and prior to that, I was with Sensata Technologies. Probably you guys have heard it. It's in Subang Jaya, but and also most of my HR knowledge and experience, even though I had a short time with this organization, but I had most with Philips Semiconductors, yeah, a Dutch company, and I was also the senior HRM at Emerson Process Management. Prior to that, my first HR experience as a HR safety executive, yeah, in Cadbury Confectionery, 1993. 1993, 1992, 1993, the first HR. Prior to that, I was in production. I was 10 years in production, so a total of 39 years. And basically, what my forte is, as Erju, as Talent Pro has highlighted, is I specialize in succession planning, talent management, and also performance management. So basically, those are things that we manage in all those organizations. Yeah, and one of the things that we always looked is try to groom, develop our people, our leaders to become future leaders of the organization, future leaders of organization. And one of the key task of managers is to develop your people to take over your position. Yeah, to develop your people to take over your position is very important, because why? Some people don't want to train or groom their subordinate. They have a fear those subordinates will take over their position and they have nowhere to go. But if you have trained your people effectively, they are able to take over your position. What does that mean? It means that you are ready to move up. Yeah, you are ready to move up. One of the things also that I always advise executives is, whenever your boss asks you to do something different from what you are doing right now, but it must be a valid task, a valid job. Yeah, if your boss asks you to do something which is different from what you are doing right now, I will say do it, because basically a boss has plans for you. Yeah, the boss has plans for you. So it's very, very important that we understand what organizations and how organizations are trying to develop the people within the organization. So it's all about talent management right now. So we have, for example, last night I had every Monday I have a session. I call it Azizan's Wisdom on Big Chief channel. You may want to log in next week every Monday at 8:30 to 9:30. So last night we talked about the different generations, yeah, from millennial, baby boomers, and so forth. And one of the things that we always looked at is make sure that we train people, we groom people, we develop people, because we cannot be in the organization forever. We will be retiring, yeah. And some people, unfortunately, because of natural causes, they passed on. Because of the pandemic, they passed on. So it's very, very critical that we be prepared. Yeah, we be prepared. So let's look at what we are going to do. What we'll cover tonight is, besides what we have listed out in the introduction by Irju, what we will cover tonight is also about what is performance management, what is review, what is appraisal. Very important, and do it right. If you don't do it right, don't do it all. Don't do it at all, because you are not helping employees. You must do it right. I have a book at the back there. Book I bought it. Big Bad Wolf. The book is called "Get Rid of Performance Appraisal." Yeah, they say get rid of performance appraisal. If you don't do it right, don't do it at all, because you are putting everyone at misery. Yeah, you're not helping. So introducing to performance management, doing it right. Purpose of performance management and QQCT. The output of performance management is QQCT. What is QQCT, guys? Yeah, you end up to screenshot. What is QQCT? QQCT is quality, quantity, cost, and time. Cost may be in terms of budget. Yeah? So make sure QQCT. That is the goal. That is the output of performance management. Yeah, when you set your KPI, when you set your goal, when you set your objectives, these are the things that you want to come away with. Yeah, the QQCT. So then we would look at the link between performance management, talent management, and succession planning. Why is performance management important in grooming future leaders of the organization? Yeah, and we would look at how an effective strategic-based performance management structure or framework would be. Yeah, and basically also we would look at PAIR and OGPC. Yeah, PAIR. A strategic-based performance management is uh, is done in the way that we can easily remember, which is PAIR, and OGPC, how to handle performance reviews. OGPC. If you cannot remember OGPC, remember this. When I teach performance appraisal, I always ask people, try to find something, a sentence, create a sentence that you will remember OGPC. For example, OGPC, orang gila pun cantik. Yeah, orang gila pun cantik. That's how we should approach employees. How do we approach employees? Azan, for example, number one, is open the conversation. Azan walks by my office, say, Azan, please come in. Or he knocks on the door. Boss, you want to see me? Yes. Azan, please have a seat. Yeah, you open it in a friendly note. Yeah, and you try to have a bit of small chat, but not too long. Yeah, open, make Azizan comfortable, establish trust. Yeah, then G. What is G? Once Azizan is comfortable, let's talk about performance appraisal. Yeah, which is G. Getting information, gathering information. Yeah, step by step. Yeah, step by step, you gather information. How do you gather information? We will teach you how to gather information in our upcoming program. Yeah, step by step. That is where I will share with you 4 magic phrases that you can do, you can use in any situation in getting uh, the information. Very important. You want to make sure that we get information to help employees. Then what we do, we get information, we start planning. P, we start the planning process. Yeah, how can we help the employee? Yeah, but when helping employee doesn't mean that we set everything. The employee must make the commitment. Yeah, the subordinate must make the commitment. Then we set the plan. Then what we do is, once we finish the planning, yeah, we come to a close. The C, yeah, we come to a close. When we close the conversation, when we close the discussion about performance appraisal, yeah, if the person is doing very good as a performer, what we do, we congratulate the person. Yeah, we congratulate you. Azizan, well done. You had a very good 2021. And I look forward to working with you again on our new targets, new goals in 2022 or 2023. Yeah. So what if that person is an underperformer? What is the person is underperformer? What we usually do, not usually, what I usually do at the beginning of my career, my first HR experience, I said, find a job lah, cari kerja lain lah. But that is not the right way to do. When you have an underperforming person, the way to close the discussion is to close it with a statement of hope. Close with a statement of hope. Bagi harapan. Give them hope, Azizan. I know 2021 was a tough year. Many of the employees also had a tough time during that year. But what we're going to do moving to 2022 is we're going to support you. Yeah, my door is always open. So that's how you do your OGPC. Orang gila pun cantik lah. Ingat lah. So it's very important. Then what we will look at this today is manage employees and performance categories. Different performance categories. We have employees who are underperformer, employees who are performer, and employees who are your talent. So how do you manage that? Yeah, and basically the last thing that we would look at before we summarize program is the performance management in Malaysia. I quote one research, one study by Poon in the University of Malaya University of Kebangsaan, and he studied some of the organization, foreign-based organization, multinational organization, and what are they looking at in terms of the performance management and what are the application of that for the organization. All right. All right, next, let's look at the performance appraisal. Appraising your employee performance is a big part of being a manager. Yeah, appraising employees' performance is a big part of being a manager. Yeah, because you are also being managed. You are also being appraised by your boss. And performance appraisal is something that people don't like to do. Let's face the fact, something that people don't like to do. Yeah, whether to appraise an employee or to do one. Yeah, to do or being appraised. Yeah, being appraised or to do appraisal on an employee, because it is very very difficult. You will get to see a lot of different characters when you do your performance appraisal discussion, your review. Yeah, you have some people who would get mad, get angry, yeah, and sometimes some people would cry. So those are some of the things that we do. Some people are obviously happy, but what does it mean exactly? If you being part of managing, why is it important? Yeah, why is appraisal important? Why is performance management important? And what role do employees play in the performance process? What role does employee play in the performance process? So we need to understand that. We will be briefing, going through and explore this question this afternoon. If you have any question throughout the 2 hours that we talked today, please feel free to ask. Yeah, we will try to answer as much as we can. And basically, let's look at there are early references, performance management, the history of performance management. How did performance management come about? Yeah, how did performance management come about? So basically, it started in America. Yeah, the Federal Civil Service Commission merit rating system was in place in 1887. Yeah, Federal Service Commission. Yeah, Civil Service Commission, which is the government lah. Yeah, and basically many companies were influenced by also by Frederick Taylor's scientific management efforts of the early 20th century and concocted performance appraisal. And they adopted performance appraisal, and that was the start of really a scientific performance appraisal. Yeah, and before World War I, however, many organizations conducted a formal appraisal. Why do they conduct performance appraisal? Because they want to make sure that they have the capable officers to lead on the battlefield, the battleground. So you want to make sure that these officers not only can lead, but also can manage and also can instruct the, the personnel to do what is required to win the war. So very, very important. So handle now, not so many companies after that were doing it, and the military were the only ones doing the procedure regularly. Yeah? So it's very important. You want to do performance appraisal, performance management, do it regularly. Yeah, and most appraisals that were done concentrated more on individual personality and traits. What are individual personality? They do not know how to manage in terms of goals and targets. So they looked at personality, behavior, yeah, character of the individual, yeah, which is what we are doing also as part of performance appraisal. Yeah, as part of the performance appraisal. So very important, yeah, that we have to make sure that we manage the KPIs, we manage behavior or competencies, and also we make sure that we manage development of employees. There's three major inputs or the steps of performance management. Yeah, performance management. We will talk about that in a short while. All right, and again, yeah, the purpose of performance management. Why is it important? Why is everyone talking about doing performance management? So make sure you do it effectively. Performance management is an important rule in managing your direct report performance. Managing direct report performance. They help you gain insight on how your employees are doing in their jobs. Yeah, they are also important for this reason. There's many reasons. These are some of the reasons that I share. Yeah, they enable you to communicate challenging yet realistic goals. So some people say stretch your goals. Yeah, very important. My boss keep telling me, Azizan, we're going to give you a stretch goal this year. So you need to understand what the stretch means in goals. Yeah, yeah. So that is what we will be looking at, and basically performance appraisal increase productivity by providing timely feedback to employees. Yeah, feedback must be timely. Yeah, for employees to make sure they are doing it effectively. Don't do it once a year. Many organizations do it once a year. When they do it in December, yeah, it is too late to help the employee. It does not serve any purpose to support employee in terms of correcting any problems of their performance. So make sure you do it as regularly, periodically as possible. At least do it twice: a mid-year review and a year-end review. Yeah, but ideally it must be done regularly. Ideal way is, I would say, quarterly. Yeah, talk to your employees quarterly. Look at their goals, look at targets, yeah, and see how they have performed over the last 90 days. Yeah? So every 90 days you would be able to monitor and track, and importantly, to support and see if any employees need to be sent for training, to be coached or to be mentored. So it's very, very important that we clear all these things. Yeah, clear all things. Don't do it once a year. It's bad. Do it once a year. Every year, in my experience, the managers, the functional managers would come and see me. As I said, how do we do performance appraisal this year? I said, it's the same lah, like what you have done last year. Hey, forgot already lah, because we do it once a year only lah. So can you teach me again how to do performance appraisal, how to set KPIs and so forth? So those are some of the things that we would look at in the full program. Yeah, understanding how to set KPIs, understanding on how to use the smart uh, SMART in developing goals. Yeah, so very, very crucial and important. Yeah, it's also about helping organization make decision about employees' pay, yeah, salary. Sometimes performance appraisal is the uh, produce the data that we need to reward employees. Basically. Yeah, and also help employees make decisions about workers' pay, professional development, and promotion. Yeah, of course, all these are based on that. And of course, when talked about promotion, how do you identify the person to be able to be promoted? Only because this year or last year, 2021, the performance has peaked? No, not based on one incident. It must be consistently above average. That's how we should do it. Not based on feel, not based on feeling. HR guys, or yeah, I'm an HR. HR, you guys are very strong on feelings. That's good because you put yourself in employee's shoes. But you must also match that with data. Match with data. That is why HR is both art and science. Art about motivation, art about developing people, art about grooming, yeah, art about coaching and mentoring. But the science of HR is about evaluating, analyzing, assessing, and collecting data and making decision based on that. Very, very important and very crucial. Yes. So these are the things that we need to look at. Yeah. And also they provide performance management, provide, yeah, against legal suits. Suit kena saman lah. Legal suits by employees who have been terminated, dominated, demoted, or denied a merit increase. So guys, whatever you do, make sure your action is legally defensible. Whatever you do, make sure your actions are legally defensible. Very important. Yeah, making sure that what you do, you have documentation. Yeah, during a performance appraisal, as regularly as you do your periodic performance appraisal, quarterly, what you do is, besides talking to employee about performance, you also need to monitor and also to document the things that may be used against the employee if you want to take action. Yeah, we call it document and decide later. At the end of the year, we have document, and we decide. We decide. Make sure that we we cover ourselves on that, yeah, right? And next one is purpose of performance appraisal. Again, is providing feedback about employee about their performance, of course, determining who gets promoted, yeah, and who gets a big better bonus than the other members of the team. Yeah? Facilitating layoff or downsizing decision. Yeah? If the economy goes down, if the company is affected by pandemic, for example, sometimes we need to decide, yeah, who should go. But overall, we need to make sure that we are ready. Yeah? We are ready, and our actions are again legally defensible. Actions must be legally defensible, right, guys? Yeah, legally defensible. And also encouraging, talked about feedback about performance, but we also want to encourage performance improvement. Yeah, performance improvement. Motivating superior performance, setting and measuring goals, counseling poor performers, and determining compensation change. Yeah, determining compensation changes, right? And also looking at some of the things including coaching, mentoring, supporting manpower planning, and succession planning. Very important. The first thing that you looked at before you want to put a person into the talent pool, yeah, in your organization is the talent pool will move on to succession or successor. Yeah. So the first thing you need to look at is performance. Yeah, performance. And the performance data is all collected, is all tabulated, is all gotten in from the performance records. Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, performance is just not a one-off performance. Last year was very good. Year before that was bad. Year before that was bad. Yeah, so it must be consistent. The performance must be consistent. How consistent? Minimum 3 years in a row, continuously. And those will be your consistent leader. Yeah, those will be a consistent leader. So they move them into the talent pool. I will show you some of it, a snapshot of it. Yeah, how to do that. Determining individual training and development needs. So it's very important that you identify also the training needs. Because as I mentioned earlier, in terms of performance management, there's three things that we looked at. The three categories that we looked at, the three phases that we looked at. Number one is what do we look at? Number one, we looked at the quantitative elements. What is the quantitative element? Quantity, from the word quantity, the KPIs. Everything is measured. Yeah, everything is measured. So you have goals, you have targets, you have initiatives on how to achieve those KPIs. That is number one. Remember this, guys. Yeah, number one, you have to have the three things in an effective performance appraisal. The second one is, what are you going to measure? Measure the KPI, first one. The second one is you measure from quantitative. Now you measure qualitative. Yeah, qualitative. The quality of the individual. What do you measure in terms of quality? You measure the quality in terms of behavior, the quality in terms of competence. Yeah, in terms of competence. So it's very important. Yeah, very important. Sometimes employee come and see us and say, boss, I disagree with your rating on my KPI. Yeah, I disagree because nobody would admit they are not doing they are not performing. Yeah? Nobody would admit they are not performing. Everybody says that they are performing. But when we have effective measurement of KPI, effective documentation of KPI, we can say, Azizan, I'm sorry. My decision is based on their KPI. Because KPI is right or wrong. Yeah, is yes or no. If you don't achieve, then how can I help you? Yeah? Unless you come back to me and says that you have either other data that can support you to improve the rating, I will make decision. I will review my decision. Otherwise, my decision still stays. So it's very important to have that quantitative measurement. Employees will again say, boss, you say that I am not a team player. Then behavior, team player. not a team player. So you need to make sure, how do you address that? How do you handle that? Very, very important. And some people says that when we looked at behavior, looked at competency, this is where also we measure attendance, employees' attendance. Yeah, they will give you a lot of things. So if you have a situation where employee says, boss, yes, they cannot argue on the KPI. Now they want to argue on the behavior part. He said, boss, you are not a team player. I said, why do you say I'm not a team player? So you would say that am I am going to stick to my decision on the results of your behavior part or your attendance part because of three things. Because of three things. Yeah. As a manager, number one, you are experienced. That's why you become a manager, because of the decision that you make, because of the things that you have done for the organization and for the people that are working for you, based on your experience. Number two, because of your training. Yeah, because of training, you can say that I make that decision because of my training has given me the outlook of how to evaluate you. But number three, most important. Yeah, sorry. Number three, most important. Yeah, most important that you need to have in order to say that I have evaluated you objectively and fairly. But is number three? Number three is being to have to act with integrity. Yeah, you may have one and two, but if you do not have the integrity and honesty to evaluate the person effectively, then it makes, well, it is not, it's useless. And you have been a bias, you are unfair manager, you are biased. So it's very important that you make sure that you are not biased. Yeah. So again, let's look at uh, determining organizational development needs, confirming good hiring decisions are being made. Yeah, we don't use performance appraisal on a new employee. Yeah, remember that. We don't use performance appraisal on a new employee, because a new employee who just joined the organization, we put them on probation, but not on performance appraisal. Yeah, performance appraisal within 1 year after the probation, once they are confirmed. Yeah, but when they are confirmed, we can also decide that the hiring decision that was made was effective. Yeah, and providing legal defensibility for personal decision. Again, legal defensible. Yeah? Being legally defensible for your action. Always document. Yeah? Always document when you meet your employees, your subordinates. Not only sometimes now people meet subordinates, they document. Sometimes you meet your boss also. You need to document what has been discussed. Yeah, you need to document what has been discussed. It's very, very crucial, very important, because now people can say a lot of things. Yeah, and some people, what they do is they even taped conversation. Yeah, but that's a different, at higher more critical level. Yeah, and basically also improve overall organizational performance. Yeah. All right, guys. Any questions so far? Let me check the time.
Not at the moment.
Okay, thank you, thank you. All right, thank you, excellent. All right, I hope that it's quite clear. All right, let's look at performance appraisal in the way of how we, in terms of the analogy of a driving car. Yeah, analogy of a car being drive. Basically everybody drives forward. Yeah, drives forward. Unless that something you're a bit cuckoo, you drive backwards. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether it's recent or an old video I saw on Facebook. Someone was driving a Myvi or a Kambara the opposite direction on the highway. So it's very, very dangerous. So then basically performance management, performance appraisal is all about driving a car. You drive forward. Yeah, you drive forward. Everybody drives forward. When you drive forward, what is happening? When you drive forward, basically you are looking into the future. You are looking into the front. You are looking into the end of your destination. Yeah, end of your destination. So you must make sure that in effective performance management program, aligning activities with company's mission and goals. Employees should understand how their goals contribute to the company's overall achievement. Developing specific job performance outcomes. So you must have a goal. The goal must be based on SMART acronym. Yeah, based on SMART, SMART. I think everybody is very familiar with SMART. When we talked about goals in any organization, we talked about SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. Yeah, and time bound. So very important. When you look into the front, in terms of, we also look back. Sometimes when we drive, we also look at the rear view mirror to see what we have missed, or to see what is behind us. Yeah, and in terms of performance appraisal, looking to the front means setting KPIs and targets. Setting KPIs and targets, very important, guys. You must have a goal. You must have a measurement. There's a saying that says that if you cannot measure, you cannot manage. Yeah, if you don't measure, you cannot manage. So you must make sure that whatever you track, it must be measured. Yeah, must be measured. HR now, we have many different matrices. Yeah, metrics, all as being assessed to evaluate data and so forth. So you need to make sure that you do it effectively. Yeah, and identifying development plan, looking forward, into the new year. Yeah, into the new normal now. Yeah, working with masks on. So that's a new normal. Who would imagine? Yeah, this would happen. We don't know what will happen in the next 6 months. Yeah, the next 6 months. So we need to be prepared. Yeah? We need to be prepared. Need to be ready. Yeah. And also performance management, again, identify development plan, ongoing monitoring and coaching. It must be ongoing. You want to help your people to perform. You have excuse me. You have spent a lot of time, a lot of money in selecting and identifying the talent to join your organization. Yeah, and by the end of the day, if you do not manage the performance effectively, you would say that the person is an underperformer. Who made the mistake of selecting the person? The person was the best person of the candidate that comes to for the interview. So if the manager is not coaching and not reviewing the performance, if you are just doing it once a year, then you are not doing it right. It's not the fault of the employee most of the time. Most of the time. Yeah? Not the fault of the employee. So you need to look at how your management skills are. Yeah? Look at how you have been developing yourself. Yeah? Developing yourself. So in terms of looking front again, in performance management is setting KPIs and targets, identifying and developing development plan, ongoing performance monitoring, coaching. But you need to look also at the back. Yeah, when driving a car, looking at the back, you see how you have performed last year. What did I achieve last year? What did I miss last year? Was the training that I did last year was useful in helping me do my work? So these are the things that we need to look at, is to evaluate our performances and also the development areas. But one of the things that I want to remind you guys, that whatever has passed, it has passed. You cannot do much. You need to look into the future and say that I want to be a bit better this year. Boss, can you help me? Whatever has passed, has passed. What can we do? We cannot do. You got a rating of, from 1 to 5, you've got a rating of 2 or a rating of 1. Yeah? And some organization, they even put 0 as a rating. Yeah? And then when they come to see your boss, how come I did not get any increment? Yeah? How come I did not get increment? Why? Because you are not performing. Yeah? But that's how you need to make sure that you document everything. Yeah, your decision is based on the documentation that you have. Yeah, to support you. Again, legally defensible actions. Legally defensible. Yeah. All right. All right, guys, thank you. Okay, this is okay. Sorry about the busy slide, but this is the HR business process. Yeah, the strategic HR business process. I know it's a bit small, but then again, let's look at this slide. Basically, is we have organizational targets and goals set by the senior management. Yeah, senior management (SLT), senior management team every year they would meet somewhere or in the office. They say, okay, this is what we're going to decide for 2022, 2023, 24, 25, and 26 for next 5 years. And how are we going to recover and make sure that we generate revenue for the organization, recover what we have lost over the last 2 years. And based on that decision by the senior leadership team, the HR manager will sit down with the HR team and align the goals and strategy of the organization to set up an HR vision and mission. Yeah, HR vision and mission. And the HR vision and mission, we need also to look at what are our strengths. What are our strengths? What makes us able to survive the last 2 years of the pandemic? Yeah, in terms of organization. Our people, look at our weaknesses. What are our weaknesses? For the last 2 years, we have not been sending employees for training. Only online training, but not many, because our employees sometimes are trying to recuperate from the pandemic, for example. Things are not very stable right now, but we have to make sure that we are still strong. Now we have not only the pandemic, we have also the war in Russia, and so we need to make sure that it does not impact as much. But already you see the impact of the oil prices have been seen. Yeah, have been seen. Yeah, they are discussing in the government on what to do. How to manage those rising costs. How they manage it? Not being political lah. Basically, from what I see, they pass it on to us lah. Pass it on to us. Yeah. All right. So very important. Very important that we have a vision and mission. SWOT, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Threats. So very important. Yeah. And from there, we also need to make sure that we understand how HR works. So all these are staffing, recruitment from employees. These are the processes of HR. I won't go through because of time, but these are things that we are looking at in terms of performance management and so forth. In terms of performance management, they do it periodically, and also making sure that the performance profile of the employees, and all those things that we need to do, we do it effectively. We do it effectively. 1 minute.
Azizan?
Yes.
Yeah, Azizan, sorry for the interruptions. Here is the comment saying that they can't see the slide. Can everybody see the slide now?
Everybody see the slide?
Yes, I can. I can see the slide.
Okay, Miss Wong Ping Ping and also Wan Ren. Okay, thank you very much for your reply.
Maybe you need to, those who do not see the slides, maybe there's something wrong, or you can.
All right, thank you very much for your comment.
Yeah. Okay, 1 minute. 1 minute.
Can.
I forget. So I said, I bought this book at the Big Bad Wolf. Get rid of performance appraisal. Get rid of performance appraisal. When I saw the title of this book, it struck me. Why they say get rid of performance appraisal? When I start reading everything in the book, now I understand. They say if you are not doing it right, don't do it at all. You are not helping the organization or the employee or yourself. Not helping. Make sure. You can still find the book in the Big Bad Wolf. So very important again, these are the processes of HR. Performance management, talent management, employee development, sales and profile. When we go through the program, it's a 2-day program, we will talk about all this at length. And basically we will also look at, what is HR? When someone asks you, what is human resource management? I have developed, based on my understanding of HR, I made it easier for everyone. HR is ARDAR. 5 things. ARDAR. 5 perkara. What is ARDAR? HR is number 1 is attract. You see this? You attract. You attract who? You attract talent. Talent acquisition. We are trying to get the best person into the organization. Then we are recruit. We make sure that once we have attracted people to apply to our organization, we start selecting, choosing the best person. Then, when they have joined the organization, we have engaged them in work. We also need to make sure that we develop them. We train them. Yeah, we train them. We develop them. And while training them, again, this is where we need to make sure that we are consistent, yeah, to assess them. Assessment or evaluate. Yeah? Assessment of work, evaluation of the things that they are doing in a workplace, in terms of behavior, in terms of the activities. Also, this means that it's all about performance management, performance appraisal or review. It may be in the form of an informal method. Yeah, the formal method would say that we bring in the forms and just sit down and discuss about the forms, what we have jotted down, and all the data that we looked. But when it comes to informal, means that we are reviewing it in our monthly meeting, our weekly report that we submit to boss. Those are some of the informal methods that we review performance. And you guys are doing it, but make sure you put it in a perspective that says that yes, I'm reviewing it through our results or the presentation that have been done during the department meeting. So make it a formal structure or part of the performance appraisal, performance management. Yeah, and basically, if you have all this, at the end of the day, once you have reviewed, make sure you retain your talent. Yeah? Make sure you retain your talent. Don't use your talent. You have spent a lot of money in recruiting them. You have spent a lot of money. You have invested, don't say a lot of money. You have invested in the training and development, and you don't want them to leave your organization. Yeah, you want to make sure that at the end of the day, when we talked about retention, it's all about being fair compensation. Fair compensation. Yeah. So meaning that compensation or the salaries are fair to the market. If you pay so low, then people will leave the organization, and you start asking yourself, why is Azizan leaving this organization? Yeah, but by the end of the day, people are looking also into challenges, opportunity to move up the ranks of the organization. Yeah, so those are things that we look at in managing people. So, all right, and by the end of the day, what do we get? We develop world-class leaders, high-class performers, high-class professionals, and also becoming an employer of choice. Yeah, an employer of choice. All right, guys. So very, very critical, very, very crucial that we looked at it more objectively, and also when we looked at the proper full program, we will talk about the process after the HR business process, and we will narrow it down, we will skew it down, we will detail out in terms of performance management process. Before I move to performance process, I want to highlight also when we do things, we only talked about SWOT. We also talked about PDCA in HR. What is PDCA? Plan, do, check, and action. What is the plan? The planning process, the goal and mission. What are we going to do the next year or the next 5 years? Then we start doing it, we implement it, yeah, in terms of the efforts that we do. And then we do a evaluation, we check in various ways through meetings, yeah, motivation surveys, for example, and also sometimes we have what we call it HR audit and so forth. So we check and try to improve our process and action, yeah, and we redo again and with improved methods of managing HR. So those are some things that we will look at in detail, the program. But because of 2 hours, it's not much time to talk about all this. And again, we moved on to the next process. We further break down the performance management process, looking at the input and the output also, and the process of the whole activity. But when we have the program, we would look at every step of the HR activity. Yeah. Yeah, in the plan, do, check action is also about monitoring goals and tracking goals year on year. Yeah, year on year. As I mentioned, performance management is the root of all important HR processes. Yeah, it's the root of all important HR processes. From performance management, you can move on into talent management. Why? Because you have selected, you have you have differentiated who your talents are within the organization, and your talent will move on to be the successor in the organization. That's why it's very important. You have a talent management, to have performance management, and I will share with you a framework of performance management. I know it's fast, what we are going through the slides, but you can take a snapshot and review it, yeah, as we talk, yeah, or we can get to it when we do the formal program, yeah. All right, so this is how performance management succession planning impacts organization, yeah. How does performance management, yeah, here you looked at PMP, the first cut. All right, in performance management, in talent management succession planning, number one, we looked at critical position. Yeah. For example, now, pandemic lah, Malaysia ni pandemic had impacted. I am very heartbroken because of 30,000 plus people have lost their lives. Yeah, 30 plus thousand. My friends also, my families also, I mean my relatives, we have lost them during pandemic. So now we must make sure that in organization, you identify what your critical positions are. All positions are important, don't get me wrong. All positions are important, but some positions are critical. Yeah. Why critical? Because it's very difficult to find the right person to fill in that position. Yeah, because of the skills, because of the operational impact and so forth, operational or strategic impact. Then from here, critical position, we moved on to the people. Yeah, here we don't look at people, we look at position. But when we looked at the people, the first thing we looked at, who do we choose? How do we choose our talent to the talent pool, for example? Number one is we looked at the performance management results. Performance management. The person who is consistently above average 3 years continuously, continuously 3 years, will move on to the next level, which is the talent pool. Yeah, we'd move on to the talent pool. Right? Very important. That's why we need to have an effective program. We need to make sure that the program, the performance management is done right. Yeah. Why 3 years? Some people may ask me, why 3 years? Because based on best practice, based on research, a person would be considered as very competent in what they do, yeah, on the job. Yeah. A junior HR executive would be very competent in what he or she is doing within 3 years. Minimum, 3 years, minimum. Some people, they do it 5 years, 10 years. No? But based on research, need to make sure that minimum 3 years. Yeah, minimum. What is 3 years? Is 6,000 hours. We are being very scientific now. Yeah, very data driven now. That's HR. So 3 years is 6,000 hours. Every year, every 1 year, we work for 2,000 hours. Yeah, you calculate. Yeah, 2,000 hours. 8 hours time, 52 weeks time. Yeah, how many days that we worked in a year. So it comes about 2,000 hours per year. So minimum 3 years, the person will be competent in what they do. Yeah, in what they do, not what the managers do. Yeah, so it's very important. Yeah, then from there, they move on to the talent pool. We've already identified who would be our skeleton or who would be our ideal talent would be. We have already separated non-consistent to the consistent to the talent pool. Then we move on to the next phase of evaluation. There's many evaluation, yeah, to become a successor. Next phase, to move into the talent list, to the key talent list, we do a 9-box placement. What is a 9-box statement? It's a matrix between performance and potential. Matrix between performance and potential. Potential and performance. So it must be combined. Looking at performance is, for example, is how the person do the work. The potential is what behavior that the person shows. Potential may be leadership potential, maybe integrity or honesty, and so forth. There's a long list of potential elements. And at the same time, regardless whether they are still a normal, ordinary staff, we will train them regardless. Because hopefully, those people who are not consistent last year, maybe they had only 2 years consistent. In 2022, they became 3 years, and you move them into the talent pool. So it's all about developing your talent continuously. Continuously. So very, very crucial and very important. So remember when I talked about performance management, first thing I talked about is pair. Pair. But remember, when we talked about performance management, pair is the phases of performance management. The 4 phases of performance management. What are the 4 phases? Number 1 is performance planning. Performance planning. Very important. This would be probably the most important thing in the performance management process. What is performance planning? Performance planning is at the beginning of the year. Now is the right time. We are still in the first quarter of the year. Some people say it's too late. No, we are still in the first quarter. First quarter. If you feel that you had a short time to start doing performance appraisal effectively, then maybe you end the process in January or February of next year. But if you are familiar with the performance management process, appraisal that you have done within your organization, then you can just say that I just want to make sure that I have been doing it right and I want to do it right now. The process is normal process. We are familiar, so I can do it fast, no problem. Because at the phase 1 here, the planning stage, what is planning stage? It is where at the beginning of the year, the manager and the individual employee will get together, will sit down together for at least 1 hour to talk about their goals and their behavior. We talked about different goals and behavior. Talked about what they need to achieve for the next 12 months or 11 months, what they need to achieve. What employees need to achieve. This is where the manager will set the goals and discuss the goals. Does the employee need to agree on the goals that is being set by managers? If the employee agree, that would be ideal. But what if the employee disagree with the goals? Basically, as I mentioned, the manager is familiar with the process, with the work. Manager is trained, experienced. And if an employee disagree, the manager would decide. I am the manager and this is my decision on your goal. So you have to be very, very, very strong. Managers are very, very strong on KPI. We are good. I mean, in terms of being fair, being friendly, respect employees, respect people, treat people respect. But we have to also be very firm in goal, because goal every year keep changing. The bar keep increasing every year. So you must make sure. What are we measuring here? We are measuring the what and the how. The what are the KPI? The quantitative. Remember, the quantitative elements of the measurement. Quantitative. The objective, the standard, the goals, and the results. The result, smart. Smart. And how are the behaviors, the competencies, and the skills, performance factors. This is where people would say, boss, where do we put attendance? This is where you put attendance. So you have to separate one. As I mentioned earlier, the 3 categories are the 3 levels or phases of the performance appraisal: quantitative, qualitative, and the development side. Yeah. Let's look at the what and the how in a little bit more detail, yeah, so that you can understand a little bit more. Okay, the result, the what and the how. The results in terms of performance planning is what the individual achieved that we want to measure. Actual job outputs, countable results, things that we can count, measure. Yeah, measurable outcomes and accomplishment, objectives achieved. Your goals, targets, objective. Yeah, purpose. Yeah? And you also, in terms of the output, we measure QQCT. Now you guys remember QQCT. Quality, quantity, cost, and timeliness. Cost may also be budget. Yeah, budget. Yeah? Work within the budget, for example. So it's very important. Then we looked at the behavior. Behavior, the results of the behavior, the how. You know, in terms of how the individual perform with good teamwork, for example, perform with good effort, yeah, adherence to organizational values, yeah, with respect and so forth, yeah, with honesty, competencies, performance factors, attributes, traits, characteristic, proficiency, sometimes personal style, manner, and approach, yeah, and by the end of the day, in terms of behavior, this will be the output in terms of knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits. Yeah, skills, habits. So very important, guys. When you do your performance appraisal, this you cannot skip. Cannot skip. In some organization that we have consulted, they skipped this and they did this and did this and did this, and when you have the performance review, the first face-to-face meeting with the employee, the first thing employee will tell the boss, we never talked or decided on any goals, boss. Then all of a sudden, you say that I did not achieve my goal. Yeah, so that is where most argument come from. I would say most argument come from is because of there's no planning at the beginning of the year, no performance planning meeting. It's where you decide. Yeah, you decide. So very important to have the P phase here, yeah, the planning. Then once you have agreed on this, you have decided on this, yeah, you also need looked at the second one, the execution. Now it is very clear. Now do it lah. Yeah, now you do it for the next 12 months. Yeah, now you do it to achieve the goals, objective, and your responsibilities of the job. My job as a manager here, my job is to provide feedback, coaching, and probably, look at some of the things that you may want to improve on, and for example, training, yeah, that might help you on the job. For example, what is the individual responsibility is to make sure you achieve the objective. What you have decided, what you have agreed on at the beginning of the year, yeah, beginning of the year. At midway throughout the year, what we do is we do a mid-year review. But as I mentioned, do it lah, don't wait for mid-year lah. Somewhere around here, do it lah. Yeah. After 90 days, review. 90 days, review. 90 days, review, and 90 days, review again. Yeah. Quarterly review, you can do it. Yeah. So we start execution. Then the next phase will be the assessment. Yeah, assessment. The formal assessment before the end of the year, what happened? Manager will take the form, fill in the form, and also determine what rating should be given to the employee, but also meaning that the collection of data. The data must be updated. Yeah, what data? Data on goals, and KPI, and so forth. Yeah, well, behaviors and so forth, yeah? Attitude and so forth. So those are some of the things that we need to have update, yeah, regardless of the 90-day goal when we do review. So all those data we can put into the whole package, yeah? And towards the end of the year, performance assessment. That's what we do, and we make judgment, yeah, make judgment based on the data or results that we have. Then what happens next is the last phase. We have everything here. Employee will also fill in their self-appraised form. Yeah? Self-appraised form. Sometimes people ask me, Is self-appraisal good or bad? I would say it's good and bad lah. I mean, there's no right or wrong. Employees have the opportunity. Sometimes we as managers might have lost out. Yeah, I know employees that I've managed. What they do was they even put copies. They print copies of email messages from customers from other departments saying, "Thank you very much, well done. We appreciate your help." That would also be considered as an evidence of the work in terms of behavior. But then again, on the negative side is when employees are not performing, they are still giving themselves a higher rating. I mentioned, nobody wants to admit they are not performing. Nobody wants to admit they are not performing. Yeah, so that is very important. So what we do is, once we have done this, we would sit down, we make an appointment with the employee for about 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour here and 1 hour here. So maximum 2 hours lah, guys. If you meet your employee, somebody will say, "Well, I'm so busy lah, Chezan. Don't have time to meet my employees." Like 2 hours out of 2,000 hours per year per employee. Yeah, you cannot say that you cannot meet the employee. You must meet the employee. When you meet employee here, the performance review, this is where you discuss about in detail about the employee performance. Yeah, that is where we do the OGPC. Orang gila pun cantik. Remember, for those guys who have just joined in, OGPC. Yeah? What is OGPC? How, when you discuss the performance appraisal, how do you open the discussion? How do you gather information? Yeah, and how you do planning. Once you have gathered information, moving on to the next year, how do you start planning so that next year the person will improve the performance, and eventually you close the conversation. Yeah, you close the conversation again. If the person is a performer, is a talent, you congratulate the person. Well done. If the person is a non-performer, underperformer, you still need to make sure that you close the conversation with a statement of hope. Bagi harapan lah. Ya. Ini langsung tak bagi harapan. Azizan, I think this job is not suitable for you lah. If possible lah, find another job. And you can get into trouble for saying all those things, Yeah, so everything you say, not only you document, employee also will document it. Then my boss said, I am constructively dismissed. So you kena hati-hati. You must be very careful. Yeah, on what you do. So PEAR, remember OGPC, PEAR, QQCT, those are the key words about performance management. Right? So that again, okay, let's do that. And now we looked at managing employees of different categories of employees. Employees are different lah, guys. Yeah, employees are different. We have to be very, very patient lah. I know some of you managers, when you think about employees who are underperforming, employees who have bad behavior, bad attitude, the first thing you when you see their name, you see the steam coming out of their ear lah. Yeah, steam coming out of their ear. Very angry lah about this Azizan. Selalu lewat. Tomorrow public holiday, today sudah tak datang kerja. So those are some of the things that we sometimes have to bear with lah. So managing employee performance, if you do it effectively, your employee tak boleh main-main with you. The boss is very, very strict, but he's a very nice person. Only when it comes to performance kerja, he's very weak. Yeah, all right. So it's very important that employees we treat different. There are some underperforming, performing, and excellent employees. And basically, employees also, when they are within this category also, they also differ within this group. Yeah? Some underperforming people are eager to learn. Yeah? They want to learn. But how can I develop myself? Yeah? Sometimes in school also we face the problem. Some people, they are slow in learning. But when you put emphasis on things that they are weak on, they become better and better. That's why some parents, they realize that children are a bit slow at school. and they send the children for tuition. So that is what some of the things that, but in condition that the children wants to go lah, yeah, to improve the. So some employees who are underperforming are eager to learn, but have not yet arrived to the expected level. Yeah, while some perform poorly and show little interest to performance management, they couldn't care less lah, couldn't care less. Yeah, if you are in agencies, if you are in the public agencies, for example, they do performance management, not private, a public agency, they do performance appraisal. But by the end of the day, regardless how their performance is, they still get the same increment or kenaikan every year. Yeah, because it is not done effectively. So it's basically them. Basically, it's get rid of performance review. If you don't do it effectively, you waste your time. Yeah, sorry. And basically also looking at employees, some employees function best when you deal with them in very firm ways, different ways, while others don't react positively to firmness and need more gentle guidance. Some people tak boleh cakap kuat-kuat sangat. They are very sensitive. Some people, when you call them into the room for the office, when they come into the manager's office, they already start. They have a problem already. Yeah, they start worrying. Yeah? Some people, even before we start the discussion, already start crying. Some people, even before we start the discussion, already say, "Boss, I disagree with your rating." Yeah? So those are some of the things that we need to manage. Yeah? It is important that you treat employees fairly and in equivalent ways, in many different ways. So you, as managers, you need to adapt to it. You need to adapt to it. All right, guys? And let's look at the different employees in terms of knowing an employee. Yeah, you have employees with regards to ability and behavior. Ability and behavior, broke this into 4 different segments. They cannot do but will do. Employees cannot do in terms of behavior, cannot do, will do, and cannot do, will not do. At least this one will do. Yeah, this one will do. This one can do, will do. These are your top talent. Can do, won't do. This one purposely don't want to do. But can do, purposely don't want to do. Wow. It's already raining where I am right now, guys. Raining heavily. But it's beautiful sight. Beautiful. I know you guys are, but I'm in at home now, my own home office, and I have the small jungle in front of me now, my office. So it's a beautiful sight. All right, guys. So how do you handle these different employees? How do you handle employees? Basically, these people can't do, won't do. They are in the red area here. Yeah, and those talent are in the blue area. And how do you handle this employee? So basically, can do, will do. Can do, will do. You motivate and mentor. This will be consistently to be your future leader lah. Motivate and mentor. Consistently do it. It cannot do, will do. Cannot do, will do. You coach and train. You coach and train. Yeah, you coach and train. Because sometimes they cannot do because of knowledge. Yeah, because of knowledge. They don't have enough skills or knowledge to do the job. So very, very important that they want to do. So we need to coach and train. Employees who can do but won't do. Can do, won't do, you counsel and train. I need a problem already. So you need to counsel. You need to counsel. What's the difference between counseling and coaching here? Coaching is a directive process. You tell the person how to do it. Counseling is a supportive process. You see what is happening to the employee. How can I help you? But if they cannot do, won't do, you document and decide. You document and decide what to do next to the employee. Yeah, document what to do. And next, the employees, underperforming employees. Yeah, always challenging. Yeah, for underperforming employees. Why? Employees may refuse to recognize or address performance issues and will act in unpleasant ways. They become very, sometimes very angry, sometimes very sad. Yeah? They try to intimidate you. Yeah? They try to intimidate you, especially people who are aggressive type. There's two types of intimidation that they show. Two types of intimidation. What's the first type? The first type is fight. The second type is flight. Flight, flight. Yeah? Fight and flight. Yeah? Fight. How does the employee behave when you see an employee on the flight mode? Flight mode. Flight mode, you say, boss, thank you for calling me for this performance appraisal review meeting. I agree with whatever you say, lah, boss. I agree, lah. I'll do whatever you want me to do. I agree, lah, boss. So can I leave now, boss? I have another meeting, lah, boss. I haven't had my lunch, lah, boss. Then whatever you say, I agree about. You put it down, boss. I agree. So these people, they easily want to fly, want to go up, but it doesn't mean that they will do it. Yeah, you must make sure. Tell the person, Azizan, I've allocated 1 hour to talk about your performance. So we're going to sit down and use the 1 hour effectively and productively. Okay, lah, boss. But okay, lah. Whatever you say, I agree. And once say that the person has to sit for 1 hour, what it does, you start looking all around the office. Yeah. So he doesn't want to focus on what is discussed. So you need to make sure that the employee focus. By the end of the day, you would say to the employee, Alizan, I want you to focus on what we are going to discuss today because it affects your performance and also affects how you treat me as your boss in terms of discipline and attitude. I can take action on that if you are not serious. Right? So itu yang flight punya mode. What about the flight mode? The flight mode is when you start discussing and say that, Dizan, I'm I'm quite unhappy with the performance because your performance has been quite bad over the past 1 year. You know what? The first thing they do is, boss, I disagree with you. I disagree with you. Yeah? So you have the fight mode. Person would raise their voice, so slam the table. Some of the things that you will meet, yeah? And sometimes they don't do that. They do another way. They have many tactics. They say, boss, I think I did better on this. Boss, they start to cry. Why? They try to intimidate you and sometimes they try to get your sympathy. Yeah? But you have data. You semua ada dalam ni. Data. I have facts saying that what I decided is based on the fact. Yeah? So if you are a disciplined boss, if you are a fair boss, if you are a trained boss, you know how to handle such issues. Yeah, such issues. So how do you handle employee underperforming? Yeah, so they may act in unpleasant ways. It's a human tendency for people to believe that they are better than they actually are. Who are these people? They are the one in the cannot do, won't do. They are the one in the red zone. Yeah, red zone. Some may come from can do, won't do. Some will come from here. You see here? Here a bit of shaded here. Here shaded here. So some will come here. Yeah. Your goal at the end of the performance management program is performance review. The goal is to improve employee performance. Your goal for employee who is underperforming is to improve performance. At the end of the meeting, you should have identified areas that need employees. That's why you need to gather information. Yeah, identify areas that need improvement or reason for low performance. Yeah, work with the employee to identify solutions. Start planning. Create an action plan to implement solutions and track the result. Schedule any formal ongoing. You must have subsequent meeting because you want to help the employee. Yeah? Follow-up meeting. Communication as needed. And most importantly is document the discussions. Yeah? Document the discussion. Very, very important, document. Then you can decide what to do later. If it doesn't work out, your PIP doesn't work out, so you have documentation. Right, next, again, performing review, again, yeah, goal is to improve employee performance at the end of the meeting. Yeah, you should have identified areas of low improvement and so forth. Document the discussion. Employees who are performing. Employees who are performing. Who are the employees performing? Sometimes if you have a normal distribution curve, if you guys are familiar with normal distribution curve, they are the ones in the center of the curve. Yeah, normal distribution curve. They are the ones in the center. Usually, they are about 70% of the employees within the organization. Yeah, normal distribution curve. 70%. Then we have the people who are underperforming, who are probably 10%, and the talent 20%. Yeah, the talent 20%. Right? So the performing review, when you do performing reviews for a performance review for a performing employee, usually the most ignored group, because these people are in they achieve. So I don't have to worry about them lah. So don't worry lah, they achieve lah. They are already there. Yeah? So they are being kept away in terms of management time and made up the most percentage in organization. 70%, you guys, 70% usually, 60 to 70%. Yeah, they are not expensive to maintain. Yeah, not expensive to keep. They are the average employees. Yeah. So, however, if you ignore them, they may become underperformant. They may go from the white zone to the red zone. Yeah. Nurture them. Some of them may become excellent performers. So you need to make sure that you nurture. You talk to them. Yeah. Okay. Who are these employees again? They can do, will do. Yeah. Can do, will do, and they are. They cannot do, will do again, but sometimes skills issue, new joiner, newly promoted, so some of the things. So they need to become coach and mentor. And some can do, won't do. These are attitude issues. Some here, attitude issue. Yeah, attitude issue. Quite dangerous if you don't handle attitude issue, because attitude, you have attitude issue, it can translate to performance issue. Yeah. And performance, you look at attitude, becomes a discipline issue. Yeah? So when you handle discipline issue, you must handle discipline very fast. Cepat. Don't wait. Handle discipline is what we call it as a hot stove approach. Hot stove, cooking stove. Hot stove approach. Meaning that if you put your hand on a hot stove, what do? You immediately take it out. Pull your hand. That's how fast you need to handle discipline issue. Because if you don't handle discipline issue immediately, dia ni macam COVID lah, tanpa SOP. Ya, dia ada COVID, dia tak mau ikut SOP. It becomes contagious. Discipline issues become contagious. Today one person is affected, tomorrow you have another person within the department because you don't take action. You are slow in taking action. So you must take action very fast. Yeah, take action very fast. Your goal is to maintain employees' current performance. At least maintain performance. Yeah, at the current performance level. You need to continue to work with them and to focus on continual improvement. Work to stretch the employee and ask just a little more from him or her while recognizing what's going well. Ajahn, I think for this part we have done quite well. But this part here on these other three items or other three goals, there's still a bit of concern. Yeah? So let's talk about that and try to improve that. But at the same time, make sure you maintain or try to become better on the other things that you have done well. Yeah? At the end of the meeting, you should have identified the areas in which the employee is succeeding and focus on them so the employee knows you recognize him or her accomplishment. Yeah? Develop the plan to further develop, improve performance, which may include specific training or new exposure or stretch targets. Yeah. Right, guys? So far, very clear, okay? Right. Right. Performance review for your top talent, your employees who are above average. Yeah. Performance review. If you ignore, your excellent employees, you risk either losing them completely. So you must, regardless, if they are a talent employee, you must make sure that you take action. What are the actions that I shared with you? Consistently above average 3 years in a row. Put them in a talent pool and have special training for them. Yeah? Leadership training, interviews, and so forth. Yeah, not only about work but leadership training. Yeah? Performance review for talent employee. If you ignore them, you would either risk either losing them completely or having the performance drop to average level. From here, they move down here and eventually here. Yeah, so you must make sure that you treat them with as high regard as the other employees. Yeah, because otherwise, talented people they are very fast. Yeah, very fast talented people. They can move. And in other organizations are looking for people who are talented. Yeah, so make sure that you manage those people who are your future leaders of the organization. They need to have their achievement recognized. Yeah, recognized can be in terms of promotion, in terms of bonuses, many different ways lah. In terms of training and so forth. Yeah? New challenges and opportunities to grow. Yeah, opportunities to grow. Yeah, properly conducted performance review may be used to retain them and future improve their performance. Future improve their performance. Very critical. Yeah, to retain them. You want to learn what they do well and how they do it well. Yeah. So they are in the blue area. Blue area. Right. And next is how do you manage a talented employee? Your goal is to make sure you sustain the employee performance and learn useful insight. Learn how they become good in what they do, and you can impact this to other employees' knowledge. You can transfer this knowledge of how they do well to the other employees with the tips, and you can also use these people to support the employee who are facing problems, who have challenges. Yeah? You want to recognize their accomplishment, maximize their contribution, and seek to enrich their work experiences so that they are less likely to look for new challenges everywhere. Talented people, they are always being sought after. They are always being looked at. People are looking for talented people. How are they being looked at? You have headhunters around. Yeah, those headhunters are always looking for good people for any organization that has engaged them. So very, very important. If you have a talented employee, if you have a person who is already at the top, a manager who is looking forward to become a senior manager, for example, at all costs, retain that person. At all costs, retain that person. Up to that extent, because this will be your future CEO, for example, future leader, future leader, or your future general management material of the director. Yeah. At the end of the meeting, this performance review, at the end of the meeting, identify what he or she does differently and how they do it differently so that you can better help the other employees. Accumulated information about work barriers about he or she has identified that might hinder his or her performance. What are things that they have a challenge with and you want to help them with that challenges. Yeah? Plan for and arrange for new job challenges, identify development strategies to ready him or her for promotion. Yeah. So you need to look into the next level. They are probably in the high potential. They are probably in the successor level now. Yeah. So you need to their readiness is very high in terms of higher position. Readiness is very high. So when you look at readiness and very high, you also want to look at promotability in general. Yeah, promotability in general. Yeah, what is promotability? Promotability is the expected future career progression in terms of corporate grades based on proven competency. Yeah, not only about performance but also competencies. Yeah. So we see a person here. If we want to promote, we look at three whether they fall into the three categories. Yeah. Number one, well placed at the bottom here. Well placed. The person is well placed. Yeah, placed in appropriate corporate grade corporate grade for the next 1 to 2 years or placed in the final corporate grade, developing in current role. So you maintain them. They are quite well placed right now. Yeah, they are quite well placed. They are the average employee, quite well placed. Then what we need to do, you need to monitor them for the next and groom them within 1 or 2 years also, so that they can go into the next path with a growth path. Demonstrate ability to operate one corporate grade higher within 1 or 2 years. Yeah, expand competence, gaining depth and breadth, demonstrates competencies beyond what is required in current role. Right? Okay, very important. Then move on to the higher level of types of talent. Here is the fast track. Demonstrate ability to operate at least 2 corporate grades. Wow, 2 corporate grades within 3 to 4 years. Luckily, quickly expand competence, gaining depth and breadth, demonstrate competencies well beyond what is required in the current role. Yeah, what is required within the current role. So these are some of the things that we need to look at, guys. So these are some of the outputs of performance appraisal. You want to do a performance appraisal, do it right. I keep reminding you this again. I keep saying this again. Do it right, because by the end of the day, you get the right person to do the job. You get the right person to become the leaders in the group. Yeah, this is good. Okay, guys, we have a few more slides that I want to share, and basically these are some surveys that I looked at. These are some surveys by one of the universities in Malaysia. It's a comparative analysis by Poon. Mr. Poon, what he did was he looked at selected organization in Malaysia. Yeah, Sabah, Sarawak, Semenanjung, Malaysia, and he looked at this analysis, and he selected those companies. Other companies, American companies are 26, British 25, Korean 15. Yeah, these are all upcoming companies. Yeah, and when they looked at the reasons why this organization do performance review, when you looked at American, they use it for compensation. Yeah, 81%. I remember that. Yeah, compensation. Promotion 77%, and training and development 68%, and counseling 60%. So these are some of the useful tools or results of the effective performance appraisal. Yeah, and the British, they use it mainly for promotion, 88%, 75% for training and development, and compensation. Yeah, so make decision based on performance appraisal, results of performance appraisal. And for those Korean companies, yeah, they use performance appraisal to decide promotion, 71%, training and development, 57%, manpower plan, 50%, compensation, 36%. Yeah, Korea ni, yeah, 36% only on compensation. Alright, guys. So basically, when we talked about why you need to do an effective performance appraisal. Because if you are an effective performance appraisal person in the organization, you know that you have another strong strength as an HR practitioner. Yeah, strong HR practitioner. And basically, let's look at, in summary, process that consolidate goal setting, performance appraisal, and development into a single common system, the aim of which is to ensure employees' performance is supporting the company's goal. An effective process will enable all managers, yeah, whether you are HR or the CEO or other division managers, all managers to start building and trusting relationship with employees. That is the only true path to great organizational results. Yeah, great organizational result. And that is by my second last slide. The last slide, yeah, is not to say it's about you, but if in a proper program of the 2-day effective program, what we looked at is share some tips and tools. I have probably about 100 different forms that we can use that I've collected, but I will share about 20 forms, and also some tips and tools for you to look at goals, to look at measuring performance and so forth. Yeah? And also looking at some samples of forms, how to develop effective KPI, and we'll do, very important here is the Or GPC, the face-to-face. How do you talk to the employee? Yeah? How do you start the discussion? Yeah, for example, you open, but once you open, the person is relaxed. What's the first question you ask? For example, you ask an open question. What is an open question? Azizan, thank you for your performance for 2021. How do you think you have performed over the last year? So it's an open question. Yeah, it's open question. The person who is being asked would answer at length a bit. Yeah, length a bit. You don't ask a closed question. What is a closed question? Azan, do you think you have performed well last year? The answer will be yes. Only one answer. You don't want one answer. You want a long answer so that you can further gather information. All right. So these are some of the things that we have. And all right, guys, I'm going to. If you have any question, please feel free. That's the end of my presentation, and I thank you very much for your participation in this program. Okay, so I'm going to stop and I pass back to Elijah. Hey, bro.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any question from the floor? Feel free to ask. You can unmute yourself and speak to the trainer. Or if you have any question, you can drop in the chat box as well.
Okay, question about false ranking. All right, huh? Very, very important. If you have organization that does ranking, again, just like performance appraisal, understand ranking. Understand why you need to do ranking. Understand the normal distribution curve. Organization now they don't do ranking or the normal distribution curve as effective for performance appraisal. What they do is they do it for the sole sake of differentiating your talent. Differentiating talent. Because unless you understand the bell curve, for example, understand the bell curve effectively, then you know what it's all about. In general rhetoric, we call it the bell curve. It was used to be called a dead man's curve. Dead man's curve. It is not effective for performance appraisal, but it is effective in talent management. Yeah, very effective. Right? So unless you are familiar, then you do it effectively. Otherwise, you don't do it. Yeah, don't do it. Because all these are guided, guys. These are all guided. You can have guided, but then by the end of the day, it's also about making sure that you differentiate your top performer and low performer. Right, guys?
Right. Any more question?
There's a question in the chat box. Kindly share the Big Bad Wolf title again.
Okay, get rid of performance review. Can you guys see this? Get rid of performance review. Okay? Right, we'll take a snapshot. Okay? Okay, one more bit. Based on the questions earlier, I answer. Based on the questions earlier, the answer, you can also look for this book. Force Ranking by Dick Groth. Force Ranking. This will talk at depth about the distribution curve. Yeah, Dick Groth. This one is at Kinokuniya. Many years ago I bought Kinokuniya. It was about 141 ringgit then. I bought it. So it's very good. 2014 I bought it. These are some of the things. Okay. We can share this also. And when you attend the program, I will bring all these books, and I have all these books here. All these are all based on performance appraisal. All performance. Hey guys.
Right. Any more questions?
Any question? Please.
Yeah. I think if you have questions, maybe you can reserve the questions to the end of the sessions, I guess. So we have one more slide to share.
Sorry, there is one more question coming in.
All right. Yeah, can.
Azizan, how do we set an effective KPI and do the reviews towards the youngster, the very new generation?
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
soalan canggih.
Sure. How do you set KPIs? Very simple. Very simple. Some people attend all those programs, but by the end of the day, they're still quite confused. Very easy, I would say. Look at your job description. Basically, this is what I tell people. Look at the job description. Based on the job description, what you do is what are the most important things that you do on the job. Yeah, you prioritize what's the first thing you do, the second thing you do, the fourth thing you do, the third, the fourth thing you do, and so forth. Yeah, and what then you do is you put a weightage. Ranking one weightage. I do 80% of my job at the job I do. These are the things I do first. Yeah, these are the things that you do first. Yeah, 80%. For example, I'm a training executive. What I do is I organize training, I evaluate, I do training needs analysis. Those would say that 80%. Based on that, you identify the objective. What are you trying to measure in terms of training? Are you trying to measure the hours? Are you trying to measure the number of participants? Or you are trying to measure the impact? So you based on that. Yeah. Dia ni macam ni. The performance. The KPI is like an onion. It's like an onion. You have an onion. One whole onion. Yeah. The whole onion with the skin around the onion. Yeah. Whole onion, skin around the onion is like your KRA, the whole job that you do within your organization, your work, semua dalam onion. Yeah? Everything, your KRA, key result areas. As an HR manager, what are my key result areas? Everything that I have to do in terms of managing the people within the organization. Those are things. But then I would cut the onion into half. When I cut the onion into half, what do I see? I see all the layers of the onion. The layers of the onion are my performance indicators. Yeah? My task that I need to do in order for me to be a successful HR manager. So those are my responsibilities. But looking at KPI, the key performance indicators, is the core of the onion, the one in the center. Yeah? What is the most critical success factor for me to become an HR manager? Yeah? Of all the tasks that I have, what is that?
Five or six. Mak, you kena buat lagi sekali. That is not good news. I know. Yeah, refresh. I hope you still remember. You boleh tak. I'm so sorry.
Okay, sorry. Okay, a question again is, how do you manage young people in terms of performance? No different than older people. Some people would come to me and say, how do I manage people who are always going to be retired? They couldn't care less about performance. So same goes with the young people. Try to be firm, try to emphasize on what they need to be measured. Look at the performance planning. Performance planning phase. Because you don't want to make it so difficult on you as a superior to move outside into a different method. So the same method applies whether they are young, whether they are in the mid of the career, or they are towards retirement. Last night I had a talk about this older generation. One of the key things that is in their mind is about money, and also about retirement benefits. Yeah, and about organization strength is somewhere in between. They're not worried about that. Yeah, somewhere after that. So this is how you should manage effectively all those people. But in what we do is, when we do a proper program, we would look at the OGPC. Yeah, OGPC. We'll do a face-to-face. We'll do a role play. One of you will become a manager, and I will become a difficult employee, for example. I don't probably you don't want me to have to become your employee, right? All right, guys.
Right.
Okay. Any questions? Good questions.
We can hear someone speak, but not really clear.
Oh,
Alright, maybe they don't have. If you have any questions, you can please still you can still drop in the chat box, or you can still speak to us. While I will go to the next program. Okay, this program is just a preview program to give you some introductions about how to do effective performance management. And we believe, even though it is just a preview session, so you have learned something from the sessions. If let's say you like to learn more, learn in depth on how to do effective performance management and appraisal, we have scheduled our effective performance management and management and reviews appraisals programs in April, which is on 5th and 6th April. So the program is HRD, HRD Corp claimable under SBN Has. So feel free to join. We will send you the course content right after the sessions, so you can go through and you can join the trainings sessions. So please join the training sessions which aim at the aim on the development of the employees, so they perform their job to the best of their ability. As Encik Azizan said, that selecting talent for organizations is important, but retain and develop them is equally important as well. So please train yourself, and we believe in these sessions you will be able to train yourself to manage your talent, do proper performance review and also appraisals. And by doing this, you can create high world-class professional and also high performing team in your organizations. Right. So if you have any questions, you can ask about the programs. So we will share with you the details. And if no questions, then we have come to the end of the sessions. Again, in the sessions, we have learned the important, what is performance management, and also the importance of performance management and also appraisals. We believe the program has been, the session has been fruitful, and everybody has learned something from the sessions. If let's say you would like to know more, so please feel free to stay back and ask, or you can drop us an email. So with that, we would like to take an opportunity to say thank you again for participating in our Pro Learning Day. See you again in our upcoming Pro Learning Days with other interesting programs. With that, we would like to say thank you, and also have a great evening, everyone.
thank you.
Thank you. You're most welcome. So if you have any questions, you can ask.
There's one question,
Yeah.
Azizan. Netflix doesn't implement KPI. What's your comment on this?
Sorry, again, what's the question again?
Netflix doesn't implement KPI. So what's your comment on this?
Netflix?
Netflix
doesn't implement KPI. So what's your comment on this?
I don't understand. Let me see.
Bro, Netflix, you know Netflix?
Netflix doesn't implement KPI. What's your comment on this?
Yep.
Okay. Basically, it's very simple. Why do you have KPI? Why do you have organizational KPI? Is to monitor what you need to measure, right? But some organization, they don't measure. I don't know what their background are. I don't know what's their background. But basically, to me, it's very important. But they may have other methods of measuring. Yeah? They may have other methods of measuring. But we are not familiar with what Netflix is doing. But for example, in General Electric, they have reviewed the performance appraisal. Yeah? They have reviewed the performance appraisal from two different two different phases that they do, mid-year and year-end. Now it's much more regular. Yeah? Much more regular. So if you have any information about Netflix performance appraisal, kindly share with me. I would like to know what's the reason behind it. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Any sample of good appraisal form, we will share the good appraisal form if you attend the program. I have quite a number. I have from GE, I have from Kazana, I have many other organizations forms that you can improve on. But as I would say, don't copy 100%. It never works. What you need to do is customize to your organization. Right? Any other question? Okay. Any question?
I see any questions in the chat box? Okay, there is one. Would you encourage more frequent performance feedback sessions rather than standard target setting?
Yeah, as regular as possible, as periodic as possible. I mean, as much as possible, you need to sit down. It can be a formal or informal. But informal means that when you, as a manager, you walk out of the office, you just informally talk to the employee. You say, go to the cubicle employees table and say, hey, Azam, how has your work? How was the problem that you talked to me about yesterday? You managed to resolve it? So those are some of the things that you can do. Yeah, and those are some things that you can do. Do it as regularly as possible. Yeah. Would you encourage more frequent performance feedback? Yes, rather than the standard target setting. Yeah, as I say, I mean, again, I just know about the full question. I mean, once you do performance planning. Then once you have agreed on performance planning, 1 hour sit down with them, then you execution. During the execution, you constantly monitor and give feedback, constantly monitor. Yeah, so that's how it is. Yeah. Is performance management the same as determining the balance scorecard for the company? It is useful. It is related, but it is not the same. Balance scorecard measure four perspective. Yeah. One is growth and innovation. The other one is internal process and customer satisfaction and revenue. But it impacts everyone in the organization, especially HR, on the growth and innovation. Yeah, growth and innovation. So that's a different program that we can probably look at in future. What other questions? Yeah? Would you encourage?
So far, yeah, that one done.
Right. Okay, I think that's it. Huh? Good question, guys. Good questions.
Yeah.
I will look at the Netflix, and if you guys join me in the training program, I will let you know my findings on that. My feedback.
You have to do research, I think. No?
Yeah, I have to do research. Yeah, because I don't watch Netflix also. So. All right, guys. Thank you very much. It was interesting. I look forward to meeting you guys in the future.